Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I want to start a new series. Now I don't know if this is going to work out, but I want to see if you guys like that idea. What I want to do is I want to take some household items or some other items that we see. Maybe we're not using them anymore. Maybe it's something sentimental and you don't want to throw it away. But you want to maybe suggest that to me in the description box and say, hey, I have this item. And if I have something similar or if I can find something similar, then I can transform it. So I want to call this series, Can I Arrange That? All right. So I want to create it into some sort of floral arrangement or some sort of greenery arrangement, whether I use the item as is or maybe have to take it apart and use part of it in some sort of floral or greenery arrangement. So you guys, I'm going to need your help because I want your suggestions. I want your, your ideas of maybe some items that you see or you have. So you can either put a comment down below in the description box below and say, hey, I have this item. Can you arrange it? Okay, but if you also want to send me a picture, you can email me at fodtricia, Tricia, @gmail.com. That my email is down in the description box below. If you want to send a picture of something that you may already have or that you just saw. You're walking around shopping, maybe in the thrift stores, maybe whatever, and you saw something, and if it's something that I'm able to get a hold of or just find something similar, like I said, and just give you an inspiration, and you can have an idea of what to do with it. So anyway, that's what I want to do. I hope that you understood that. You can also follow me on my Facebook page, Trisha's Creations. Or on I do have an Instagram as well. It's also Trisha TX Lady. Trisha Texas Lady is what I call it, but it's TRICIA TX LADY. Trisha Texas Lady. My name is Trisha Flores, so you can also find me that way. So maybe you can message through there as well. So anyway, I have this strainer, and you've probably already seen me holding it in my hand. Now I've seen quite a few people already using this little strainer. This is a Dollar Tree strainer, the mesh strainer that they have there. I've already seen a couple of videos where people have used this. Now I've also seen the mesh cover that you put on a pan, the one that keeps things from splattering everywhere. But I've kind of seen way too many of that one, and this one's something that's just starting. And I was there at the Dollar Tree and I grabbed one. I said, you know what the heck, I can start off with that item. I do have one that I like very much, but it's a very good quality, so I didn't want to use that one. So I did go and buy one from the Dollar Tree. It's super inexpensive. Maybe you have one that you've had, as a hand-me-down, some sort of an heirloom, something that you don't want to get rid of, but it's not really usable. So actually I would love it if this was kind of rusted and had that kind of look to it, but it doesn't. So we're going to work with what we have, and we're going to see can I arrange this? All right. So did I say can I arrange that or can I arrange this? Let me know. What do you think? I'm going to go ahead and put it in the title. It'll probably say can I arrange that, but what sounds better to you guys? All right. So let's get to crafting. All right. So I want to put some flowers around my, what is this, a strainer? I keep wanting to say a sifter, but it's a strainer. And I want to put them around the edge here. Now, I could just cut them off and possibly hot glue them on, but because this is a metal, it's what I call a cold material, just like glass, my hot glue will not stick to this. It'll stick temporarily, but then it'll just pull off very easily. Now, if you have a hot glue, like, the Gorilla Glue sticks that you can use in your glue gun that'll stick to the metal, then by all means use that. But I'm going to show you another way that I can use this. So I have these like little lavender little bushes that I got at the Dollar Tree. I decided that I wanted to work with this it's kind of like lilac color. Anyway, I don't even have to take off this little sticker or the little tag. I'm just going to cut off like about 2-inch stems. So I'm going to push the leaf that it comes with and then just cut off about 2 inches. And what I want to do is I'm going to wire them together into a wreath so that then I can see how long I need to make my strand before I create the wreath. So first I'm going to cut a bunch of these. Let me go ahead and cut these as well, because I have two colors here. I've got the ones that are, just the like lilac color right here. And then I've got these that have like a more of a lavender purple with the off-white on them. So I want to, alternate them like that. Okay. So I'm going to start off with these little stems here. And what I want to do is I want to alternate them as I was saying, and then just kind of wire them together and wrap and make a long piece there, and then I can bend it into a wreath shape to fit around this. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got some wire here. I've got some floral tape. So I'm going to start cutting off little pieces of wire. Don't have to be very long. And I'm just going to kind of overlap it a little bit. I want the flower to overlap the previous flower a little bit. Let me move these little greenery leaves so they look a little bit nicer. So I'm overlapping it a little bit, just like that. Getting my wire and getting them together, just like that. And then I'm going to hide the wire with some floral tape, some green floral tape, and just wrap it around. And the floral tape, as you wrap it around, you have to pull on it, and that releases the adhesive on there so that it sticks, and then just kind of press it down as you roll it. So that's what I'm going to do. Oops, and one of the flowers fell off. Now, anytime you have a flower falling off like that, I suggest you put a dot of hot glue in there and then put it back in there, because otherwise it's just going to continue falling off, and we don't want that. So go ahead and, you know, hot glue your little flowers on there, and then you're done. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and continue. I'm going to use a dark, one light, dark, and so forth until I build a longer string, or I guess a garland at this point. It's going to be a little garland right now. Okay, so I've added these on here. Let me show you something real quick. I've got some wire on my little paddle here, but I'm not going to cut the little piece like I was saying earlier. So I'm just going to get my next little flower, put it on there, get that wire, a little tip, wrapped around, and then wire down to grab, you know, make sure you're grabbing both stems. And then we're going to grab our floral tape and wrap that around. See what I'm doing? And then you're going to take your next little stem, wrap the wire around them, and then keep going with the tape. See, you don't have to be cutting and doing that. Just keep wrapping it around, one after the other. Next one. And grab both. Make sure you're grabbing both stems and wrapping them up good. And now, and tight. Okay, also tight. Now my floral tape. And I'm pulling and I'm pressing. So look at this pretty little garland that I've already created. Isn't that nice? I'm going to go ahead and put it against you so I can see how far I've gotten so far with just 2 bushes. And I still have a little bit more of these little flowers. So this is how far I've gotten. This is almost halfway right there. See that? Okay, I'm going to continue building so that it goes all the way around. Or maybe just up to here, because I do have some other flowers that I want to put up at the top. Alright, so I'm already coming to what I think will be enough of a length to put around my little strainer. I can go ahead and cut off this wire. And just wrap that little end on there. And finish taping it. Let's go ahead and cut that as well. Okay, so now that I've got my little garland, and if you want to know how many of these little stems I had to, or bushes I had to use, I used 4 of them. I bought 6. I bought 3 of each color, but of course you don't have to buy 3 of each color. You buy whatever color you want or whatever style of flower you want. But each of these has 5 little flowers on them, so that helps you. You need at least 20 little stems here. Okay, this is obviously not going to go all the way around. Now, if I used the other 2 bushes, I would. But like I was saying, I want to use another flower to finish this off. So now I've got my little garland, and then I'll be able to push these upward, you know, to kind of hide this middle part here. And see, as these little flowers are coming off, I told you, add a little bit of glue. I didn't have my hot glue gun ready earlier, but now I do. Add a little bit of glue to it, or to the little knob on here, and then push it back in there. That'll hold it in there. Okay, so for now, the flowers are fine the way they are. I'm going to grab a few pieces of wire here. Just cut them off. And I'll use probably a little bit more. So, okay, let's see where this is going to be sort of even. I think right about here is good. Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some wire and put it through the little holes of the strainer. Put the wire through the hole. You have it like that, through there. And then around the stem of one of the flowers and just twist. And you want to use floral wire. That'll be nice and thin to go through those little holes. You can't use chenille stems for this. Okay, hold on. Let me check something real quick and make sure that I'm sort of kind of even. I am, but I also noticed that, no, I'm only going over one of the stems. I thought maybe I had wrapped the wire around 2 of them. Okay, I just want to grab one. Okay, now I can cut off the excess wire, and then I'm just going to bend those little ends down. And then after I've wired it all the way, you know, in certain little spots, not all the way, I should just say, in certain locations, then I can bring these flowers up, because, you know, they are, you know, stems that can be bent. I can then bend them upward so that they'll hide the majority of that, you know, this little metal edge here, because putting it on there, you know, it does cover it with a green. I should have said we're covering the green part of what I put together rather than covering the metal part. There we go. Because the green covers the metal, and now the flowers are going to cover the green. Okay, but we don't have to worry about too much because it doesn't look so bad. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get another piece of wire, put it through the little strainer holes there on the mesh around the stem here. Just making sure. There we go. And then just tighten it nice. And then I'll do another one over here where there's a little hole there. Put it in there. Go between the little flowers there to get into that stem. And wire that down. And then I'll do it again over here. And then we'll have a nice little wreath around our strainer. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Also be careful you don't, you know, bend this in too much, but look at that. That looks so pretty. All right, let me go ahead and finish this off, and I'm gonna also direct my little flowers kind of upward this way to the front, and then I will come back so that you can see how pretty that looks. All right, so now that I've got it all wired down, and I think it could be wired down a little bit more. I've gone ahead and added a little bit more wire than what I said I would, but I think I could probably use another one right here, maybe over here. But it's holding up pretty good, so I'm just going to throw in a little bit of glue here and there, not too much, just to kind of help it a little bit. There we go. Just watching it because it could drip, you know, right through the mesh and onto my table. So, okay, so I've already pushed these little flowers up. I'm not going to do it too much right now because I want to go on to the next step. Now, the next step actually should have been probably the first step, but I didn't have my hot glue gun ready and I wanted to get my video going. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, what is this? This is jute rope here, and I'm going to cover the handle on my little sifter here. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue to get that started right there. Get that started. And then just start wrapping it around. Okay, and ever so often, I'm just going to add a little bit more glue here and there as I keep wrapping the rope, and I'm going to continue all the way up. Now, I don't know if I want to keep this color of rope. I might want to paint it, so I'm kind of thinking that over. But I'll finish it off, let you see it, and then you can see what I do if I decide to paint it, which I think I will anyway, just so that you can see that. Okay, so, or just use a different color rope, right? Or ribbon, whatever you like, so you don't have to worry about that step. But let's just say you have tons of this rope, because usually most of us do, we buy it like crazy because it's pretty much used in every craft you can see, and I've used it for everything. So I have this color, and sometimes, you know, the color doesn't exactly work with what I'm doing. So now I'm probably gonna, well, I am gonna paint it, but I may not have to. I'll just do it because, you know, I just already mentioned it. So anyway, I'm gonna continue wrapping, and I shall be back once this is done. All right, so I'm not done, but I'm getting to the part where this little hole is at. And I don't want to like cover that because I want to be able to use that to hang my sieve. So I'm going to cut some, I'm just going to cut some rope to just a certain extent here. But this may not be long enough, but just to give you an idea what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take it and I'll put it through the hole and wrap it that way all the way around. So let's get a little bit of glue on here. back too much because I don't want to burn my fingers. Let's feed that through. Try not to overlap the other little piece of rope. You know, try to make it as neat as possible. So we're just going to do that all the way around. And if I run out of rope, I'll just cut another piece and glue it to the end where I left off. Try to finish off somewhere in the back, okay? Like if you know you're going to run out of rope, just finish it off in the back, and that way when you put the other end of the other, when you start off another end, you won't see the two ends up here in the front connecting, you'll just see them in the back, okay? All right, so I'll continue doing this. All right, so I haven't had to add any more rope. I'm using the same length and it's almost done, and it's getting kind of, you know, little wrapped or unwrapped here because, you know, I've been pushing that same little end through the hole constantly. So let's get all that all done here. One more around and I think that'll be it. Let's get that little glue in that little bitty bit. And there we go. That looks so nice. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around and trim off that piece there, and then just add plenty of glue there to glue that little end down. And we'll go to the next step, which I had said I want to paint it, but let me go ahead and show it to you like this. See if you like that. It looks really pretty against the lavender, and I'm really liking it. But you know what? I'm going to paint it only because I want to show you what it would look like painted. All right, let's do that. Okay, so I've got some white paint here, and this is just plain white from this Craft Smart. And then I've got this cashew. It's a chalk paint, but it doesn't have to be a chalk paint. It can be any paint really. And this is in the color cashew, in case you're curious as to what I'm using. And the reason that I pull these colors out, these two colors out, is because my flowers aren't quite white, but they're not, you know, this color, and I don't have that color. So I decided that I was going to sort of mix both colors. And I'm going to take some of this as well right onto my little puppy pad here. Just a little bit like that. Of course, a little bit didn't come out. A lot came out because it just does. All right, so I'm going to take both colors. And I have a dry brush here because I didn't exactly want to like super blend them. Let's move this out of the way. Push that forward a little bit like that. Okay. Oops, there we go. And a little bit of the white. And then just brush it on. And this, the reason I'm not mixing them is because if I feel like, oh, it's a little too dark, I can grab more white. And if it's too white, I can grab a little more dark. Or just kind of give it a sort of a, you know, just a mix of both colors. Maybe paint it all white first. And, you know, you could do the back as well. Or you could just leave the back alone. It's not going to show. It's going to be against the wall. So you can paint it all white first if you want. And then come with a darker little tone. And just here and there add a little bit of it. You know, just to kind of give it that kind of washed effect. All right. I feel like I need more white. So I'm going to pour some more white onto my little puppy pad. And continue painting this till I am happy with the way it looks. And then I'll just let it dry. And of course I want to get the sides too. So, and because this is a rope, it's a fabric, you know. It's an organic material. It's going to soak up some of that paint into it. So don't be surprised that you're like, oh, I'm using more paint than I thought. Or you put some on there and then you're looking at it and I was like, well, where did the paint go? And I got sucked into the you know, the little rope bits here. So anyway, just letting you know that can happen. All right, while that is drying, I decided to go ahead and do some more painting on a couple of other items. I have a little mini wreath right here and a little bird, and he's got a little beak here that fell off. I have to glue it back on. Let's see, let's go ahead and get that on there. All right, let's glue that back on there. Just for the heck of it for now. He's a cute little bird. There's nothing wrong with him. He's actually a really pretty color. I've used this bird over and over in so many things. But I feel like he's not really going to match. I want him to match. So I've got some paints here, some purpley color and some this blue. And I also have still some of the paint left over from the handle. So I'm going to use some of that. I had poured some white right here because what I wanted to do is I wanted to paint like these pink feathers especially. I'm not feeling them, you guys, so I'm going to paint them And we're going to see if it works. I think it is working really well, actually. So I'm going to paint the bird, all of it. Try not to scrunch up the little feathers too much, you know, kind of keep them spread. That's all I'm doing, you guys. Just painting the little bird. Actually, let me get something to hold the little bird so that I can paint him. Okay, because he's styrofoam, I'm going to use a little stick here and push it in. Okay, there we go. See, now I can hold him like that and paint him instead of getting the paint all over my fingers and such. I also have this little mini wreath here that I'm going to paint with the white and this cashew color. I don't necessarily want it to give it like a really full coverage. I'm just going to go over it like so. But there we go. We're just going to do that. I'm going to add a little bit of the cashew paint as well into some spots here and there, just so that it all coordinates, you know, pretty nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this long feather because it has a pink undertone. You know, the feathers were already a pink color. I'm just going to put this lavendery color and let it work with the pink, and that'll kind of give it that lilac color. So those are the two long feathers in the back. And I want to add some of this cashew color on the little wings here on the side. Anyway, I'm going to grab some of this purple here, lavender. What is this color called? It's called Petunia Purple, and this is from Apple Barrel. Okay, and I'm going to mix it a little bit with this. Actually, the paint that's on the little bird is still kind of wet, so I'm just mixing it a little bit because I don't want it too dark. And I'm just going to kind of ombre it on here. A little darker at the top and then lighter as we go down, but I'll add a little more darkness to it as I this one is placed on there. After this one's placed on it, I should say. Okay, I'll get that on there. Now on the head, I'm not going to worry about the beak because I am going to come back and paint the beak another color, and of course I'll touch up the eyes with some black, just like that. Don't worry about blending it in or anything like that. Just get it on there, and we're gonna let that dry, and I'll touch up the beak. I have this other color here called golden brown from this Craft Smart paint that I got at Michael's. And then I'll get some black, and then I'll just put a little bit of black here, dip my brush end on there, get it on there, and then just kind of touch it like that. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna do. I'll go ahead and do it with a purple just so you can see the way I'm gonna do it. Just touch it up like that, and then you'll have your little dot for the eye. Okay. All right, so now that my little bird is dry, there we go. I added a little bit of touch of blue to him also. Now, you might not even have to paint the little bird, but just so that you can see how you can, if you want to do that, if you have a little bird already and it's not quite the color that you want, you could actually paint it. So there's an idea, okay? Now, hopefully you'll have the right color bird and you don't have to go through that step. All right, and also maybe you like the natural color of the rope here, so you don't have to paint that as well. Now, this is still a little bit wet. I can feel it's still a little wet, so I'm just going to be very careful with it. Now, I want to build like a little sanctuary, if you will, for our little bird inside of our little inside of the strainer here. So anyway, I'm going to use this little wreath. I'm going to trim off that little stick there that was kind of bugging me. Let's trim off a little bit more here. Okay, so I want to put this little wreath in there, like so, like that. And I think I want to put the little bird kind of perched on top of it like that. So let me put these flat like that and just make sure that that's all going to fit in there. I don't think so. Yeah, okay. It'll all fit in there the way that I want it. Okay, so I want to put some of this moss. Now you can use like a little tiny little nest if you want, instead of this little wreath. This is just something that I happen to have, and I decided, I'm going to use that. Okay, so I'm going to put some hot glue on my little wreath here. Let's move our little bird out of the way here. Let's put some hot glue right here. And I'll I'll just do a little bit at a time. There was a big old glob of glue there already from, this was in another arrangement where it was stuck in. I used the glue to stick it into the other, and that glob of glue was still in there. So we're just going to work with it by hiding it. Look at that. Boom. Hidden away. Nobody sees it now. Okay. There we go. And then, of course, you know, you can put a little more glue, stick it a little bit more, put more moss on it, if you will. But that's enough for me. I'm going to turn this around. So now I can go ahead and glue this in there. And I don't really want it like flat up on the front. So I kind of want it on the edge here. So I'm just going to put the glue right here. Now some of that glue might drip through the mesh and the wire. So we're just going to keep that in mind. Now whatever you put on inside of your little sanctuary here that you've created, your little cage, you want to make sure that the items are flat, level right here with the back, because this is going to be hanging on the wall. So you don't want it sticking out over here and then you got this hanging all crooked on your wall. So I'm just going to hold it like this for a while just to make sure that little wreath dries up in there. Look how pretty it looks from this side. It looks so cute. The little nest will look so pretty with maybe some little branches in there and such. Okay, once it's dry, I'll go ahead and mess around with things and like this little bit of here that's dangling here that it won't come off. I don't want to knock over the little wreath. So anyway, I'll let that dry really well and I'll be back. Alright, so I did have these little flowers in my collection of things and I grabbed a couple of them. I would have liked them to be a little bit smaller, but this is what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and add them in there. I've already kind of like looked at it. I probably should have put it on the wreath before I added the wreath in there, but I didn't know that I wanted to do that. So I'm going to glue these little flowers. I'm going to go from behind and then just kind of tuck them in there and then glue them onto the wreath. So push it onto the wreath, hold the wreath so it doesn't, you know, push off. So we put it in there from behind and we turn it around and there you see the little flower. Look how cute that looks. Look at that. Okay. I'm even thinking I don't need to put a second flower in there. I think one flower is good enough. I'm going to keep it simple. Okay, so now we want to do the same thing with our little bird. And we want to put him in there. Let me see his best side. We're going to go with this side. I'm going to put the little tail in there like that. Now, before I put him in there, I can already see there's a little stick coming out of my little wreath here that's kind of in the way. So, trimming that off. So I can glue him flat right on here. And then I'm just going to curl the little tail like that around the front of the wreath. So make sure that he fits in there, okay? So some glue. Get that on there. I want to make sure that he dries before we try to move our hand out of the way and then he ends up falling and glue gets everywhere. So just push those little tail feathers into the inside. So we turn it around and look at him. Look how cute he looks. Alright, so let's let that dry completely. Alright, so I don't have any lilac or purple or lavendery ribbon or even some off-white. I probably do somewhere in my wedding ribbon box somewhere in my storage room, but I'm not going to go looking. I'm being lazy, you guys. I found this little raffia, this little green raffia bow. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. You really don't need that, but I'm going to use it. Okay, so now I've got these red, or not red, but lavender roses, and I really don't care for the leaf part of them. So I'm just going to cut them. I'm going to cut 3 of them off this bush here. These are from the Dollar Tree, by the way. Okay, so I'm just going to cut 3 of them. I think that's all I'm going to use. I like to use odd numbers, but we'll see. Okay, so now we're going to take our little sifter here, our beautiful little wreath sifter, and we're going to decide where we want our flowers. I don't want them to cover my little bird. Okay, so I'm going to cut this stem. Actually, I can go ahead and remove this little stick and then trim off this little plastic bit that was on the stick. I don't want it to come out too much. I'm going to put it up here, right on there. I could probably trim it a little bit more. Actually, I am. Let's trim it nice and flat. Now, when you do that, you know, this little backing can kind of come apart. So we're going to add some glue kind of there between the petals as well to make sure you catch everything. over here also. And I'm going to go in the very center of the flower and pour some glue in there. Okay, so now we need a glue for gluing the flower again, because that may have dried a little bit. Now remember, this is still a little bit wet, the paint, so we'll see how it works right now. I want to put this flower, but I don't want to put too close and then cover my little bird. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just placing it first at the height that I need it, so it's not covering my little bird. And now I can put the other two flowers on each side, and actually I can go ahead and leave the stem on them. I'm just going to try to bend it a little bit of a curve, so I can use that stick to kind of glue down onto the handle of my sifter. So there we go. And then I'll kind of, you know, face it downward a little bit, you know, curve down that way, because I don't want to put it this way. I want to put it curved down that way so it hugs around, you know, the shape of the sifter. And I'll do the same thing with the other flower. Rather than putting it straight like this, I'll angle it like that a little bit. Oh, and I dropped some glue inside of the petals of this other rose, but that's okay. And then just kind of go underneath the other flower, the center flower. Get that onto the handle. And then we'll worry about removing all this glue. I was looking at my little bow here, thinking, okay, where am I going to put that? So, I pulled this off. Let's push that back in there. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this right up here on the handle, just to make it look pretty. Just to bring some of that pretty green up here onto the handle. And then I'm going to kind of scrunch up the bow a little bit so it's not so flat. Just scrunch up that raffia. This part had come off, remember? So I just want to make sure that it is sticking. I'm going to let this all set for a little bit, remove any webs of glue, and we're done. All right, everyone, I have completed my project. So can I arrange this? Yes, I can. So I created a very cute little wreath out of the Siffter with a little sanctuary inside for my little bird. I think it looks super cute. I mean, you can put other things in there. You can put some fruit if you want, maybe hang it in your kitchen. Whatever little items will fit. Maybe you have some little miniature, you know, like little village people, or some little dollhouse items that are small that you could create a little scene in there. But for today, it is a little sanctuary for my little bird or a little cage, whatever you want to call it, you guys. So I think I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. And I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up and leave a kind comment down below and let me know what you think of my project. And do you like the idea of this series of Can I Arrange It? That's what I'm going to call it. So you guys let me know, and also suggest some items so I can start looking for things, or maybe I have something here in my home that I can already use, and get started on this series that I want to do. And hopefully it sticks and you all like it and you enjoy it. If you haven't already subscribed and you like the content, you like what you're seeing, please hit that red right here. There's a red subscribe button. There's my little icon right here as well. You can also hit that and subscribe through there. And then after you've hit the subscribe, underneath the video, you'll see the little bell. Go ahead and hit that also and choose all. I choose all for everyone that I'm subscribed to, because I want to make sure that I get notified of all their videos. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. And again, as always, enjoy.